What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of a Not So Serious Convo with your favorite homegirl, your favorite host. And call me Miss Cleo because I've been predicting the future. So just add that to the list as well. My name is Shelby, and this is where my diary meets the group chat. We talk a little bit about this, a little bit about that, but we always keep it real, unfiltered, and not so serious. We are back with episode 10. Yes. We're going to get into all the good stuff, all the details today. We are getting into a combo all about weddings, legends in October, one of my favorite months of the year, and not just because it's my birth month. But we're going to get into some breaking news, world news, and all of that good stuff. But if you've been rocking with me since episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you already know. First things first, we got to do a vibe check, and that's where I check the vibe for a lucky zodiac sign randomly picked for the episode. However, today, episode 10, we're going to do the vibe check just a little different. Today, I'm just going to be breaking down some of the planetary alignments and what's going on because October is a lot of transits, oppositions, it's the planets going direct, all of that good stuff. So, we're going to break it down, okay? So first things first, we have October 13th, which is today, the day that I'm filming this. We have Venus entering the sign of Libra. We also have Pluto stationing direct in the sign of Aquarius. If you know, Pluto has been in retrograde. Yes, the microbraids is tight since May 2024. I'm sorry, May 2025, but it is now stationed direct in the sign of Aquarius. And we also have a new moon in the sign of Libra coming up October 21st. So, what all this means with Venus entering Libra, let me read the notes. And don't you worry, all the notes will be posted on the Vibe Check post. So, make sure you check that out. But with Venus entering Libra today, it's all about love, harmony, and aesthetics taking center stage. Relationships get smoother flow, we crave balance, fairness, and beauty, and this is great for reconnecting and creative collaborations, okay? Pluto stationing direct in Aquarius today is all about deep transformation around freedom, technology, and social structures, okay? Personally, this reactivates where we're evolving and reclaiming power in our chart. I'll be getting into all that deeper into the vibe check. So make sure you check that out. And also, the new moon in Libra coming up October 21st is all about new beginnings for relationships, partnerships, creative balance, and diplomacy. Okay. It's a clean slate in how we relate to others and to ourselves. Make sure you check out the vibe check post. I'll be going into depth on how these transits, oppositions, and everything that's going on will be affecting you based on your sun, moon, and Mercury sign. Okay. Now, getting into the convo, first thing, let me just do a little recap. Last episode, I said episode 11, there was going to be a surprise, right? Well, let me just rip the band-aid off, okay? Little bad news. I was supposed to have a guest, which I've been talking about. First, it was me trying to get, equipment and stuff. That got handled. But the person who I was supposed to interview and supposed to be a guest on episode 11, however, unfortunately, things happen. I will not be able to interview that guest. Let me tell you, between the eclipse, the full moon that just passed, Pluto doing its thing because it was still in retrograde, microbraids, Gatorade was, yeah, putting it through it. Things A lot of people have been going through transformation, right? Transition. And so grace needs to be given to everybody. It's nobody's fault. Things happen. And so we have to postpone that interview just a little longer. Not sure when the rain date will be, but this is where my diary meets the group chat anyway. So this is why I started off the podcast with it just being me. Although the idea of me starting this podcast was to interview people and to have guests on. But when you have guests and you interview people, you have co hosts and other people along, you have to factor in other people's lives, schedules, what they might be going through, and stuff like that. And so that's why I really was adamant on starting this podcast with just me and then adding guests because I knew sometimes, guests might not always come through. And so yeah, y'all still get me, but we will eventually have guests on. Um, And yeah, we'll handle all of that good stuff. What else that we need to catch up on? I told y'all I was going to a wedding last weekend, and let me just say, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. I enjoyed myself so much. I think I'm just coming down from the wedding high. I'll need my life. It was not my wedding. It was one of my husband's very, very good friends, very close friends, like family. Him and his fiance, France and Jazz, they got married. So they're the newlyweds, the Plugosants. Yeah, shout out to them. They got married. It was a nice, intimate ceremony. We were invited to the ceremony. It was outside, a nice 50 people. It was an unplugged ceremony, which means like you can't have your phone, you can't record. They were very strict on that. So of course I obliged. After the ceremony, went inside. It was cocktail hour for an hour. They had hors d'oeuvres, waitresses walking around giving us hors d'oeuvres, open bar. Baby. See, I'm not a drinker. I don't be drinking like that. However, when I found out it was open bar, I said I'm going full throttle, and that I did. Got me a lemon drop. Well, first, my husband got me the first drink because I went to the bathroom. Came back and he had a lemon drop ready for me. Okay. Then I had me apple martini. I had some of his old fashioned that was so amazing. What else? I had a few things. I think I had a margarita. I had a few, okay? But after the cocktail hour, it was the reception time and they had DJ YALLLL. If you're from Jersey, you already know. DJ YALLLL was the DJ, the food, everything. The bride and groom came out and the bride and groom made it very clear. Eat your food, but this dance floor, you better be up on it. And we sure were having a time. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. And it got me to thinking, because I know I'll be thinking, I 100% would agree and rather be a wedding guest than be the bride or be in the wedding party. Okay. As someone who is now married, who has planned and canceled 4 or 5 weddings, I love being the guest. I love being the guest. If you don't know, I am married. I've been with my husband for 9 years. We have 2 children together. And last year, we got married. I always wanted that date, a specific date. However, once it came to actually planning the wedding, it was like a rush situation. I planned 2 destination weddings, a few micro ceremonies, and blah blah blah. And I was like, you know what? Every time I thought about what I needed to do to plan the wedding, it got so stressful and it was like I wasn't enjoying being the soon to be bride. And so I just canceled it and we ended up getting married in our living room. My mother was the officiant, my husband's uncle was one of the witnesses, my sister was a witness, and our 2 kids are there, and that was it. And I loved that. And me and my husband were sitting back while we were at the wedding that we were just at, and we were thinking like, we're both so private. I'm a Scorpio, he's a Virgo. We're real like we don't like full attention. We like stuff that is sacred to us to be kept privately. We've had 2 baby showers and that was enough, and we even felt like, please don't put the spotlight on us. That's just how we are. So the wedding thing is like we're glad we didn't do it because the amount of stress that we were feeling just to try and plan it, we knew was like it wouldn't be worth it. Like this wedding, I'm not sure how it felt to the bride and groom, but to the guests, to me, it was amazing. But there was times where I was looking around like, where's the bride, where's the groom, and they weren't to be found. I believe like when it was time for us to eat, the bride and groom went and maybe they ate somewhere separate or they were out taking pictures. But it was like when we arrived at the wedding, we were actually a little late, to be honest. Okay. But technically right on time. But when we got there, the groom was downstairs taking pictures, and you can just tell it was a whole bunch of hustle and bustle. Me and my husband, we don't be beefing none of that. We just be like, bro, we just trying to party. So if we ever do have a celebration for our marriage, we'll have a reception situation probably, but it'll be like a party. Like it won't be too extravagant because we just ain't into that. So it might be an unpopular opinion, but I 100% will always rather be the wedding guest than be the bride, be in the wedding party. Like, don't even invite me to be a bridesmaid, honestly, because that is even stressful in itself. Being a wedding guest was a little stressful. Me trying to find a dress. I wanted to make sure that me and my husband looked kind of similar. Accessories, how I was gonna like that in itself was enough. But I thoroughly enjoyed myself. So if you got a wedding coming up in 2026, let me know. Although I may have to I may have to put you on pause because I got a lot of weddings to go to in the 2026. It's like after me and my husband got married, everybody else gonna get married. We have about three destination weddings we're supposed to go to. I think another wedding. It's a lot of weddings, and the fact that most of the weddings that we have to go to our destination, it's killing me. Thankfully, I just got my passport, so I'm cool on that. My husband's passport, I think, just expired. The kids don't have passports, and I know what you're saying. Kids invited to a destination wedding. One of our really good friends who's getting married next year in, I believe, Mexico, they called us and was like, "Yeah, so we're not inviting kids to the wedding," which we didn't expect. So we were like, "Of course not." But they had the nerve to say, "But we want you to bring yours because there'll be like two other kids there." Baby, we don't want to bring them. We don't want to bring them. We don't want to bring them. And it's not just because we don't want to bring them because we're not going to have fun, right? But I got to, that means we got to get them passports, right? And they don't give discounts on kids' passports, which is crazy to me, right? I feel like if you under a certain age, give a little discount. No, you got to pay full price for these full kids. And so that's looking at like $400 right there for two kids' passports on top of my husband needing to renew his. That's a lot. That's a lot. So don't think these kids will be going to the weddings with us, the destination weddings. We're still up in the air on if we going to the destination weddings. However, if you are getting married in the New York or New Jersey area and it's going to be a time open bar, yeah, we coming. Invite us because we'll definitely be there. Okay. A time was had thoroughly enjoyed. I've been seeing so many people getting proposed, getting engaged. I feel like during this time, like right before the holiday, through the holiday season, is when a lot of people get proposed to and get engaged. Love that for them. But let's just let's just reconsider these destination weddings, right? I get it. It's your whole two for one because I as well planned two destination weddings before just saying never mind. And my whole theory was I wanted to get away. Like if I was gonna be spending so much money on a wedding, I might as well go on vacation too, right? Because I feel like the wedding isn't so much for the bride and groom, right? It's also for the guest. I mean, clearly, I went to a wedding just recently, and I'm telling you, I had a ball. That wedding was for me.